Arit, I'm Lee Hawthorne, and welcome to the channel. Thank you again for all the support that you've given on this channel. Really appreciate it. Hoping to hit 100 subscribers. I might have by the time this video goes out, so probably shouldn't say that. But if not, please go and subscribe. And if not, then also please share with your friends. Today we are talking with an artist who is very new to me. It's an artist, the first time I've interviewed an artist on this channel who I've never met before, never even really spoke to much before, other than like the odd Instagram DM. But absolutely loved his latest single, I Could Get Used to This. It's one of my favourite songs of the year, up there with like Zella, Sleep Real Bad, Trumpy Juno's EP, stuff like that, like amazing. Features Sweets, who have also just dropped an interview with someone, watch that as well. We talk about kind of the genre confusion of the song. A lot of blogs have called it like different things. We get into that. We talk about being from Darlington and an old band that he was in that I didn't know about. So that was quite nice to hear. Went with Soul Kitchen, went with Sweets, the plans for 2021, and so much more. So let's get into it. I Could Get Used to This. It's been out a little while now, but could you tell me a little bit about it? What's it about?
So the song is. So I wrote it with my good friend. And fellow artist Sweets, who's from Newcastle. We wrote the song about a year ago, maybe now, maybe longer. It's been a long time in the making. I met Sweets at university, and it was like some weird like songwriting session thing where there's loads of strange people like showing their songs, and then I got to see Sweets play one of his songs, and I just fell in love with his style and everything straight away. And we got chatting as you do, and went to the pub and had a few drinks and said, "Oh, we should write a song. It'll be absolutely amazing." And all this as you do, and yeah, we basically wrote a song within a few weeks of knowing each other. Then got in the studio like maybe last year with my friend Bob, and yeah, and then it came out a few weeks ago.
I have already spoke to Sweets. That interview should be on now as well, so we'll watch that. And he mentioned that he's kind of worked on a few songs, and that there should be a Sweets featuring a royalty song coming out.
Yeah. So we did. We worked on quite a few. This was like the first one, which is kind of good to know that we've obviously got more stuff lined up. But yeah, we have got quite a few little things. Yeah.
And what can you tell about them? Are they kind of more in the same sort of vibe, or?
I think that they're more like Sweets' sound like that's the. I Get Used to This is kind of like a bit poppier. Like if you listen to like Sweets' new tunes, Smoke Area and Ashtray Cowboy, that's like quite more grimy and hip hop, like hardcore hip hop and stuff. So I think the next tunes that we've got are a bit more in the Sweets' niche rather than my own.
I was reading some like the blog covers that you've had for the song, and it seems like you've just confused everybody because every single blog has called it something different. There's one that called it hip hop, there's one called it contemporary R&B, there was neo soul, there was jazz, and every single genre was mentioned. Like, how would you describe if you were to like send it to iTunes or whatever, and like it'd be in a box, which is wrong, but how would you describe it?
I think it's kind of like, I don't know. I think it's like alternative pop. It's like it's pop music. It's solid pop songwriting, but it's got that kind of alternative twist to it. But I mean, I think I'm to blame for that. Like my managers will ask me every other week, or what sound do you want to say, or what do you want to say, and I'll say something different every week. So that's just I'll take the full responsibility for the confusion there.
Yeah, there was one that I seen that was actually like, I think hit the nail on the head a bit, and they were saying it was kind of like all of those things that are kind of like the contemporary R&B, neo soul kind of thing with a bit of jazz, but then kind of fit into a kind of indie format. And I think that kind of like summed it up quite nicely for me. I think
yeah. Well, I mean that I think it's to do with just like who. I mean, everyone these days has got a wide spectrum of like who they listen to, and I think that's just the same for me. It's like the indie format. I mean, I used to be a massive indie music band fan, when I was younger. So that's how I kind of developed the big chorus kind of thing, where it kind of builds up to something and then they have that like release. And then as I kind of got a bit older, I listened to more R&B and soul and stuff like that. So I think that's why it's got such kind of a cross genre thing going on.
Yeah, as I was reading through your influences, what stood out to me is there's a lot of kind of like hip hop on there, kind of the Mac Millers and Rex Orange
Yeah.
County, that sort of vibe.
Yeah.
What are you going to start bringing more of that into it from yourself, or is it more kind of when you're working with people like Sweets?
Yeah, I think definitely like, so I mean, we spent a lot of lockdown in the studio with my producer, and obviously when we're getting to release these songs and people are asking me who my influences are, I just answer who I'm really loving at the moment, and the type of songs that I'm writing. That's just who it is, and I know that like some of the songs that have been released so far, they don't really tie in with like the Mac Miller influences and the Frank Ocean influences and the Bill Withers influences and stuff, but that's just who I was listening to at the time. So the next batch of songs, the next 3 or 4 which we've got ready to go, are a lot more. You'll kind of see it makes sense. The Mac Miller stuff as well. Like there's a couple of tunes which are, I'd say they were, if they're not hip hop, they're borderline R&B, hip hop.
Yeah, I think a lot of artists do that, to be fair, these days. So kind of
Yeah, they do. Yeah.
For me, it seems like with I Could Get Used to This, you've kind of cemented yourself, and there seems to be a lot more kind of buzz around you. But then I did notice that the last song, He Takes Over, has like the same amount of streams. So
Yeah.
like, how do you feel about that? Do you think this has been like a step up in terms of the coverage you've been getting, or?
Yeah, definitely. Like, I mean, it's hard, isn't it? Because like, there's bands who like announcing European tours and stuff and things like that, and then you go on their streams and it's really low. And to me personally, if it was the choice between having a high stream song or going on a European tour, I'd go for the European tour every day of the week, and I think a lot of people would. So like with this one, with He Takes Over, it was like the streams were great. On the other hand, the radio coverage wasn't quite as good and the blogs weren't quite as good, which is fine. Of course, it's the first thing I released. But with this one, it's been like, as you say, cemented myself in terms of the song's been listened to by a lot wider spectrum of people rather than just like Spotify listeners who are flicking through that kind of genre. I think it's been like, in terms of the radio players with the BBC introducing and stuff like that, it's probably been a much bigger success in that way. Definitely.
And what do you think's changed from then? Have you just started with Soul Kitchen? Is it what they brought to it, or?
Yeah, I think just the Soul Kit, like, so when I released He Takes Over, it was like just me not really wanting to be an artist. I mean, when I went to a university to study songwriting, I was doing it with the hope of one day writing for other people. I never really wanted to be an artist, didn't really like the spotlight or doing interviews, but and stuff like that. And then like I wrote a few songs and I sent them to my producer saying, "Oh, do you think you know anyone who'd want to sing these?" And he was like, "Well, why don't you just sing them? Like, you've got nothing to lose. It'd be good." And I did it, and it went okay. And then before you know it, you become obsessed with being an artist. And like you were saying before we started recording, that like it's quite easy once you kind of start doing it. You want to have it all your own way, and I never wanted that. And now it's like I'm so particular on every little detail, whereas before I was happy to just write the song and then leave it, get on my hands, give it to someone else. So that's probably been the biggest change in terms of, I think it's just me taking it more seriously, probably. And then the Soul Kitchen thing has allowed me to take it more seriously and have some substance to it.
What was the process with you with Soul Kitchen? I'm assuming it came through with Sweets,
Yeah.
but like, what was the like? How did it start? What was the conversations?
So it was like, so I mean, Keith, so Sweets' dad is one of the main guys at Soul Kitchen, and I've been friends with Sweets for a while, and and he told me that his dad had this management label company, whatever you call it. And he said that, oh yeah, they work with like Jake Bugg and stuff. And when I was younger, when I was about 15 or 16, I was obsessed with Jake Bugg and that kind of music, as I said before. So I was always asking him questions about like, what's he like? Because Sweetser said he'd met him a few times, and I was always asking him things about his dad, what's he up to? Because he was always doing exciting things whenever we spoke about what he'd been up to. And then we wrote this song together, and he sent that to, like, showed it to the people at Soul Kitchen, and they just were really like, just sent me a message saying like, we love the track, would like to like see what else you've got and just have a chat about music basically. And everything they said was just like, just what you want to hear, isn't it, from like someone like that, from people like that. It's great. So the second that it kind of made sense to like think about working with them, I was more than happy. I was absolutely buzzing, to be honest.
I'm buzzing at my tits.
You mentioned earlier on that there's kind of like more music to come, that you've written quite a lot, and there's like stuff that you've got ready to go. Is that going to be with Soul Kitchen as well, or is it going to be?
Yeah. So we've got 3 singles ready to go with Soul Kitchen for the start of 2021, which are all near enough finished. Like by the time this comes out, they'll probably be finished. I'll send you them after this, actually, if you like. Yeah, we've like been just kind of sorting that out for a while, and I'm absolutely buzzing to just get into 2021 and start get them going, really.
Yeah, you've mentioned them a few times, but this producer, Bob McKenzie, that you work with, from what I've kind of read briefly with him, like some blogs and stuff, he seems like quite a good producer, and obviously sounds it from your stuff. How did you meet, and how did that come about? Because being in Liverpool, I'm assuming it's from uni. But
no, so I'm from Darlington, and Bob is from Richmond, which is like North Yorkshire. Yeah, and we went to the same college. And we're actually in a band together, like an indie band called Circus Villains, when we were like 17, 18. And just became really close through that. And as we kind of all went off to do our own things individually, I went to do songwriting in Manchester, and he went to do production in Liverpool. Obviously, we're really close friends, but to begin with, we didn't have that musical relationship which we have now. And then, as I said before, like I sent him a few of the demos that I'd made at home before university, and just said like, "What do you think?" And he said, "Oh, they're really, really good. We should record them for his like uni projects." So we recorded He Takes Over for one of his projects. And as I said at the time, I wasn't that interested in being an artist. I wanted to write for other people. And then before you know it, like a couple of people say you should do it, and you're like, yeah, it sounds great. So we did more for his other uni projects and for my own uni projects, and now here we are, ready to release the next 3, which are also recorded with him as well.
I've definitely heard of Circus Villains before.
Yeah, you might have done.
Never made the connection. It's blew my mind a bit. So how kind of involved were you in kind of Darlington's music scene? Because I think there's like quite a strong collective of artists coming through there. There's like the likes of like Eve Conway and Jodie Nicholson.
Well, Eve Conway is actually my distant cousin.
Wow.
Weirdly enough, yeah. I don't know how we're related. I couldn't tell you. It's one of those things, but we are. I know we are. I don't know really. It's like when I was in the band and stuff, we were gigging Darlington and all the northeast venues, and then when I went to university, kind of lost touch with it a bit, and I haven't played too many gigs. And the plan was to kind of, before COVID and all that, was to kind of come back and reconnect with it, and kind of start building those relationships with like the old promoter that I had when we were in the band and stuff. But obviously recently it hasn't been too ideal to do that. But like, I always slag Darlington off to people who aren't to people who are from Darlington, but to people that aren't from Darlington, that you describe it. It's like how you do with your hometowns. You describe it as the greatest place ever. So like, I'm very excited to reignite that relationship with my hometown once all this is over. Definitely.
It's funny because my favourite kind of, when it comes to festival season, my favourite festivals are in Darlington. And I don't know why, but there's something about the lineups that they make are really good. The last couple of times I've been down there. And then even the venues, they're just like small little pubs, but like I would prefer that over being in a muddy field all day.
Definitely.
It's just mud with a bit of shit mixed in.
Which ones have you been to? Because I probably played a couple of them back in the day.
Music Box and Last Train
Music
Home.
Box, yeah. Music Box is class, but I think it's Dave Saunders who runs it. So you know you're going to get a good lineup when he's involved because he has such good relationships with all the bands from around here. I think we played that a couple of times. That might be where you heard us.
I might have even seen you.
You might have done. Yeah.
Fair. Oh well. So you've kind of mentioned it there, but what are the plans for next year then? Have you kind of got any? Is there a single like January or is it?
So yeah, I mean, as these things are, like as an artist, I want to release every single song tomorrow, and you know, a lot of artists I've spoken to are kind of like that. But now working with other people, you kind of got to plan it out more and work with each other so it works for everyone who's involved. So like ideally, February, January, March, around that time, we'll have the first one done, and then hopefully it'll be every couple of months or so. I mean, you never really know. Like, as I said, I want to release them all as soon as possible, but if something's doing well, then it's kind of seems wise to squeeze out the coverage as much as you can. So I'll be come this time next year, I'll have 4 or 5 singles done, maybe an EP. Who knows? We'll see. I'm currently writing a not a lockdown EP, but like a demo EP during lockdown, which I hope to record as soon as I can, really, as soon as I can get back into Manchester and Liverpool. So yeah, just release as much music as possible. I didn't realise how much I enjoyed the process of it until I actually did it. So just that's what I'm focusing on at the moment, is writing and releasing, definitely.
Sounds really exciting. Where can people find you online to kind of keep up with all of this?
You've questioned. I think now, put me under pressure. Luke.royalty on Instagram, Luke Royalty on Facebook, Luke_royalty_ on Twitter, Luke Royalty on YouTube, and then Luke Royalty everywhere else. So there isn't any others, so it should be pretty easy to find, hopefully.